Hello everybody and welcome back to Letterboxd Book Club. My name is Claire.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And today we will be discussing the Ex Hex by Erin Sterling.
Woohoo! And I will start us off with the description. 9 years ago, Vivienne Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cause him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is until Rhys Penhallow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and annoyingly just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Graves Glen, Georgia. What should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival turns disastrously wrong. With one calamity after another striking Rhys, Vivi realises her silly little Ex Hex may not have been so harmless after all. Suddenly, Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Rhys have to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late.
Lovely. Thank you for that, Kenzie.
No workers. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, you first.
I knew you were going to do this. Alright, disclaimer. This is take 2 because I fucked up our first recording.
No, don't tell them!
Anyway, trying to match the energy.
So we are trying to match the energy and we're trying to do the exact same thing a second time round, but authentically, so we'll see how we go.
I mean, it's not very authentic. But anyway, this book had me in a cute, witchy chokehold until about 80% of the book when I was like, alright boys, we need to wrap this up. Like, how are we going to fix this curse? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was just so cute and just so like nonchalant, and it's a fun little adventure journey. And yeah, just at the end, it's just like, there was I think, obviously the whole Piper ghost thing, I didn't expect that to be like as significant. I thought it was just going to be like one of those, putting out the fires situations, but then it turned into something bigger, which I wasn't expecting, and I, in the moment, didn't really appreciate. but no, I loved it. It's such a cute book, so fun and goofy and adventurous, and like it's a good little vacation read and excellent for the spoopy season.
Yes. I am going to pretend that this is the first time that we're recording this. So, Claire, do you think that what
Alright.
Do you think I finished this book?
For the sake of authenticity, no, Kenzie, I do not think you finished this book.
And why is that?
Because you initially messaged me saying you had 50 minutes left to listen to it or something, and then so I just thought you were you're pushing through to finish it. I don't know. It doesn't matter anymore because I know how you actually feel.
Okay, for the sake of our listeners that this is their first time listening to us discuss this book.
Oh my god.
I loved this book.
Yes.
Yes, it is my first non-fantasy, I guess, 5 out of 5.
Not that we ever rate books, but this is a first for us.
I know, it's the first time. I usually hate everything. So I have zero qualms, and I know I said last night when we were recording, gun to my head if I had to have a qualm, and now I can't remember what that was, but I'm sure it'll come up again. It was so cute. I loved the witchy vibes. I loved the witchy in modern day vibes. I loved the practical magic vibes, i.e. the movie with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. Oh, also today I was watching TikTok, and TikTok came up about practical magic, and I was like, yes, it is the spooky season.
Yes, it is upon us.
Yes. So yeah, love this book.
I love that for you, Kenzie. I was going to say, since this book gave you a 5 stars, you gave this book 5 stars. Lucky for you, it's a trilogy out there for these books.
Oh wait, hang on. Claire, I don't know if you know this, but this book is actually a duology.
You mean trilogy?
Oh no, a trilogy. You mean a trilogy?
Yes. Yeah, which is good. Which is about Gwen, and I'm going to assume Auntie Elaine, which good on for Auntie Elaine getting some. Yeah. Love
Wait,
that for her.
actually, we didn't check this last night. Let us check what the third one is.
Who else could it possibly be? Or it could be like a brother, perhaps.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because there was 3 brothers.
We love the witchy 3-3 vibes. 3-3-3.
Let me just do a little bit of a Google.
Bit of a sussy-wussy. Also, while she's doing that, straight off the bat, the character names just remind me of Akatar. Because what are the odds
Yes.
of Rhys, Gwen, Vivienne, and Elaine? It is just... What are the odds in a post-Akatar world? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was
it's
deliberate.
Bowen.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
And
No!
Tamsin,
Who's Tamsin?
the non-witch with the candle.
What?
Would you like me to read the... Bowen Penhallow has always been a loner. It got 4.25 stars. Bowen Penhallow has always been a loner, studying dark and ancient magic on a mountaintop in Wales. He prefers it that way, but when his friend Colin, who happens to be a ghost, asks him to attend a Yuletide wedding at a grand estate deep in the Welsh countryside, Bowen reluctantly agrees. Tamsin Bligh is not a witch, but she makes a living off of them. As a procurer and seller of magical items, Tamsin's business is not always above board, but she's been trying to fix that. Bowen is an occasional customer as well as star of several of Tamsin's dirtiest dreams, but she's been around enough witches to know that as a human, getting involved with one is not the smartest idea. She's finagled an invite to the witchy wedding of the century in the hopes of finally making a score big enough to retire. Just one priceless magical artifact from Tywell House would set her up for life. But Tamsin is the only one sneaking around Tywell House with a mix of very strong spell combined with a meeting mishap transports Bowen and Tamsin to Tywell House's past to the Yuletide celebration of 1958. As Bowen and Tamsin work together to get back to the present, they must also face off the origins of Tywell's house was haunting, the suspicions of their fellow witches, and the fact that somewhere between the mistletoe and the bonfire they might be falling in love.
That was so epic. That was impressive, Kenzie.
Thank you.
Just the gasps of breath in between each paragraph. It's just got funnier and funnier. That was the perfect speed as well.
That's what I need my life to be at. If everyone could get to that speed, I really...
That is natural 1.5 speed, or if not faster.
Like, this is a thing, because I used to do... This is off topic, but while we're here, I used to do speech competitions in school, because I'm a fucking nerd, anyway.
Loser.
And my feedback, and because I did acting, my feedback was always slow down, like you talk so fast. So and people still say I talk fast sometimes. So when we do these podcasts, I'm really like putting a lot of brain into like trying to speak slowly when I want to speak that fast normally.
That is what you want to achieve every day-to-day life.
Yes.
We need to, every now and then, we just need to let you out. You know, let your speech out, you know.
Get my zoomies out. And this is like when people ask me, oh, how can you read that fast? Because in my brain, that's how fast I'm going. Like, my eyes are going left and right.
I would stutter and like fuck up and like go back and forth and just, yeah. That was amazing. Which reminds me, I saw a TikTok earlier today. I don't know if I sent it to you, but it's of a woman telling a story about something. I've completely forgot what the context was. But she was talking like quite fast, and I was reading the comments because you got to read the comments. And then like it had like 30k likes. It's like you read at like a nice speed because she was reading really fast. And that just reminded me of this. And it was, yeah. Far out. Well done, Kenzie. Yeah. Just the gasps. The gasps you gasped. Truly gasped.
Did you like the one I sent you the other day? The scream I scrumped.
Yeah. How are they coming up with this? I love it.
Let's get back to the book.
But wait, back to that description. What the fuck? Tamsin and Bowen? Fucking hell. Yeah. Jesus.
They did spend a lot of time on Tamsin for her to be a side character.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I suppose she has to change her ways. It's a redemption arc.
Yeah. It got more stars than this one. Both of them. The second and the third got more stars.
I suppose we don't really learn much about Bowen in this book. Like, he has one conversation.
Oh, yeah. The cover hasn't been released. Oh.
It's coming soon.
It's coming. October 15th, 2024.
Oh.
So, for it to already have 4.25, those are early arcs.
They're like, the arc stuff. It's like, I'll give you 5 stars, but I'll come back later. You know,
it's been postponed. So I guess it was meant to come out maybe this year. Oh yeah, instead of coming out this year. That makes sense.
But it still just means people are like, I'm rating this a 5 or a 4 point something, and then I'm going to come back and review it later, which is a scam.
Yes, okay, so a lot of the reviews are just like, oh, I hope this is a Bowen and Elaine book, but
A bow and oh fuck no. No, that's like, it's like cougar vibes. Could you imagine?
Okay, so that's why it has such good stars, because it's only one and it's taken my money. I can't express how much I love this series. And that was from last year.
Jeez.
I'm confused.
People are jumping the gun here.
Yeah.
Alright, watch this space. Come back to when it comes out and it's like an average 2-star rating.
Come back at this time next year.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, back to the actual book. We kick off with a prologue. I love a prologue. I would consider this the perfect first chapter because we meet our main character and her life situation. We learn, her mother's dead, and we learn that she's living with her aunt and her cousin, blah, blah, blah.
Her name is Vivienne. The main character's name is Vivienne.
Main character's name is Vivienne, or also known as Vivi. She's heartbroken, she's upset, she's drinking, because the boy she's been hooking up with all summer is allegedly betrothed to another witch, and he didn't tell her. Mm-hmm. And then so he had to piss off back to Wales. Mm-hmm. Which, representation for you, Kenzie. You're what percentage of Wales? Of Welsh?
35, baby.
35% Welsh. There we go.
Actually, let me confirm that because it changed.
Again?
No, just since the first time and the other day. But I only checked the Scottish part of it because that's the most...
the prominent aspect.
Yeah. I really need to be working on my accent.
So you will actually love haggis.
Ew.
Have you ever been to a Highland Games, Kenzie? Or like the Scottish Highland Gathering?
Hey, I've only recently found out.
Why were you not drawn to Scottish Highland dancing? You would have been so good with my sister.
I did try that when I was little. I tried Irish dancing first, but...
That's not very Scottish of you, Kenzie.
Yes, well. Wales. Oh no, it's even less. It's 10%.
Oh, what a drop. No, for the sake of authenticity of last episode, you are 35% Welsh.
Yeah.
We don't know this information. So yeah, anyway, Vivienne had a hookup with this other witch named Rhys Penhallow. He buggered off to Wales. She's heartbroken. Her and her cousin Gwen, it was Gwen's idea to like curse him or hex him just for a bit of payback.
Also been drinking, and their like motto is don't mix vodka and witchcraft.
Which is very fair. And I loved the like plea to the goddess. It's like, goddess, we beseech you, blah 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 blah. Goddess, we beseech you, something about his hair. And then with finality, Vivienne's like, Rhys Penhallow, I curse you and your stupid line, or something like that. And then there's a bit of a whoosh with a candle. She has awakened some sort of power in herself, and it's fully cursed the poor guy.
Yes, it has cursed we find out that it has cursed the Penhallow line, but it only affects them when they're in Graves Glen, and it just makes their magic go a little bit haywire. It doesn't perform as it should.
The curse of the ley lines.
Well, no, already because before the ley lines are corrupted. Remember, Rhys is like trying to change his tire.
Yeah, Rhys has a bit about alright, it just sounded like you were saying the ley lines. I don't know. That's
bro, I'll fight you.
That's alright. Hey, I just misunderstood. Relax, we're all chill here. We didn't fight last night, so let's not fight now. Fucking relax, bro. I'm kidding. But yeah, anyway, and then now we jump forward 9 years later. They're like 27 or whatever. What's 19 plus 9? 28.
Yeah, well done. Go math.
I think that's still wrong, actually.
And it's Founders Day, and the town was founded by Griffith Penhallow. So a Penhallow needs to come to the town to charge the ley lines. So it is. So what's his name? Rhys Penhallow is being sent by his father, and I thought it was really cool because Gwen and Vivi were talking about it, thinking like, oh, it couldn't be him, like maybe they'll send someone else, blah blah blah. And then Gwen kind of doubles in tarot cards.
Yes, we didn't mention this at all last night, and I forgot about it.
And she paints her own cards, which is really cool. And she was saying that if you pull the magician in the first 3 cards, then it means you have bad luck, which means that it would be Rhys that's coming, and she pulls the magician. So, and
it's funny how it's just a whole lot of bad luck since then as well, just because of the whole ley line cursing. And yeah, the ley lines I like the magic system and how it's established because it gives the magic accountability. There's no sense of like overpoweredness and like the ley lines and having to charge the ley lines to fuel the magic of the city and everything is just such a cool idea, and I loved it. And just in general with the magic, you know, for convenience, because we learn that Rhys runs a little travel business, and obviously he offers all his customers essentially the perfect experience. No bad weather, no flight delays, and all that type of stuff. Magic is just super convenient.
Yeah.
And then Gwen has her own shop as well, and they're able to disguise their real witch materials with like novelty and like hipster sort of witch stuff as well, which is also really cool.
Yeah, and they have, and I like that there's mentions of how they don't use magic to, like for their benefit essentially, but they use it to make life a little bit smoother or whatever. So, for example, Rhys has a travel company, and so he casts little charms so that these like tour groups never have bad weather on a flight, or they always get good reservations and things like that. And so in the shop, Elaine has put a little charm on the storeroom where all the kind of real witchy stuff is, that when normies come into the shop, they just kind of don't want to go there. Like, it's not scary or anything, they just don't have the desire to walk towards the storeroom.
Just the strong feeling of like, I don't want to go back there, which is fair. So yeah, offer the little protections. And the same thing at the college as well. There are areas where the normies can't go because it's charmed in a similar nature.
Yeah, so
just to
Vivi
deter.
teaches normal history at the college. But yeah, they have part of it is the witches part, and yeah, it's just charmed so that the normies just can't be bothered.
Yeah, fair enough. They're just discouraged. Which is very interesting about Vivienne, because we learned that her mother was never really strong in teaching her or guiding her about magic. She always thought magic was a bit dangerous.
Yeah, she was under the assumption that, yeah, her mother was kind of scared of magic, but then they learn that she was really powerful, and so not that much comes from that, it's just kind of offered in passing.
Yeah, and it's nice. I like, now that I realise, it's nice that like Elaine and Gwen don't use kind of her I suppose magical amateur nature like against her. Like, she's not like any lesser than them. She's just like happily doing her own thing, and they're happy to provide her that similar like comfort and respect as well, because I feel like in these types of witchy books, especially in like the book The Witch You Wed, like it's very frowned upon for some witches who like aren't well into their power or aren't training into their power and stuff. And I just liked that it's just something that Vivienne is not entirely, not that she's not interested in it, because it is her life. It encompasses. What the fuck was that? Explain it, or I'm going to keep it in.
Yeah. I just heard like tapping behind me, and I turned around and Luke's just standing there. So.
As I was saying, despite magic essentially encompassing her lifestyle and life, like they're just very happy with her to just like bubble along, do her own thing, and like dabble in what she wants to dabble into.
Oh, we didn't speak about this last night either, but I did enjoy how they talk about how witchcraft and witchy things in their shop have kind of become more popular because everyone's kind of a witch now, and everyone's kind of into tarot and stuff like that, which was really cool. I was like, yes, I agree.
It's very relevant, especially now. Well, it reflects now because a lot of like young women into the tarot, into the crystals, into the witchy stuff, the pendulums and all that type of jazz. I think everyone just is stepping into a little bit of witchy spirituality as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Why not?
I do also really enjoy, again, I'm picking up more things I didn't mention last night either. I like how magic is kind of shown as well, in that it's not these big spells and things that do all this wondrous magical stuff. It's just little things like here, like a special brew of tea can like help you like stay more concentrated or whatever. Like a little spell just stops people from wanting to go in a certain place or whatever.
Yeah, it's nothing too overly nasty or malicious at all.
Yeah, and I feel like that really comes into the modern world because, you know, like I blow cinnamon into my door on the first of the month to like welcome abundance and things like that. Or like, you make a herbal tea and you add something a little bit extra because you're like, well, this is for like the calming of the mind or whatever. Like I feel like a lot of things that in yesteryear would be described as like witchcraft is just kind of being in tune with your body, or like it's just wanting to bring yourself like luck naturally and stuff, and like the planets and the vibes.
It's like as I just said, you're just encompassing your own sort of style of spirituality in that sense as well, and believe in what you want to believe in. I loved it. And I also loved that they mentioned like of the very spiritual or witchy holidays and stuff, like Beltane and Samhain and Halloween, even though Samhain and Halloween are technically the same day. And like the thinning of the veil between the spiritual world and the real world and stuff, like it's just so cool, and I love all that stuff. Not that I ever really researched much into it. I know of it at a very surface level, but I do like that sort of stuff. So cool. Let's just dedicate this potty to more witchy books. Just witch books from now on. Oh, and I'm in my room and I actually have my crystals next to me, so that makes sense.
Oh, wow.
Maybe last night was destined to fail.
Perhaps it was fate.
It was fate. Love the witchy vibes. Sorry, this is very like ADHD style. We talk about something, we go on a bit of a tangent, we come back. Love it.
So Rhys is coming to town, much like Santa Claus. Anyway, but I did think they talk about... Gwyn says this is like what happens when you fall in love with a witch boy, and so I thought that witch boys were kind of going to be like frat boys. And I thought there was going to be a bit more story about witch boys, but it's more just like don't fall in love with a boy.
or like especially like the Penhallow boy, because he's a legacy of the founders and stuff, so that makes sense.
I did also just remember what my one qualm was. If I had a gun to my head and I had a qualm, it's always I don't like how it's the mother is dead. Well, both main characters' mothers are dead, and then Rhys is like, oh, I would have been raised differently had my mother been alive or whatever. Like, my father wouldn't be as much of a hard ass, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Simon Penhallow's a bumhole. I also like how Simon is talking to Rhys and he's like, you're a powerful warlock, blah, blah, blah. Why are you wasting your time on your trivial travel business? And Rhys is just like, there's no warlock anymore. Like, we're all just witches.
It's such a good, like, allegory or metaphor or whatever one it is of, like, the difference in generational upbringings and terminologies and stuff. Very reminiscent of, like, the current day pronoun stuff.
Yeah,
it's like,
it just makes everyone equal.
Yeah, exactly, and I love that too. It's like, it's got subtle, or maybe even at times not so subtle, relevancies to the modern life and, I suppose, politics and stuff of today, but yeah, it's just so greatly interwoven, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. It's not too out there. Rhys comes into town.
And his magic is being a little bit funny.
Bad luck, some would say.
Yes, and then at his Founders Day speech, because he has to make a speech, the head of the statue falls and nearly beheads him.
He nearly gets killed twice.
Yeah, he's like, I am cursed. And his father's like, no, you're not. And
ironically, third time would have definitely been the charm.
Yeah, the Jones girls are like, well, actually, you kind of are cursed. And then later on in the book, I know that you said this yesterday, but I'll just mention it now. Later on in the book, Simon Penhallow comes to visit because he's like, well, I guess I should probably come out now because things are going wrong. Yeah. And then he's kind of like, how dare you, like, let yourself be cursed by this coven or whatever, like, you're a powerful warlock, blah, 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 or something like that, anyway. And then she's like, hey, mate, fuck you, like, I cursed your son, like
what does that say about me? Like, I'm fucking powerful. Yeah. But then we learned the real reason is because she has the blood of her ancient ancestor coursing through the fucking ley lines, and that's why the curse was able to come through. But anyway, yeah. The clapback was great.
Yeah. So, and part of his coming to town, Rhys has to go and charge the ley lines. And so he takes Vivi with him, and because he is cursed, thus when he charges the ley lines, he corrupts the ley lines, which then makes all magic in the town kind of behave erratically. And not as it's supposed to. So there's an incident in the shop with these wind-up little toy skulls, but they become sentient and start just
little ankle biters.
Yeah, which is funny. And there's some normies in the shop, but Rhys kind of like talks them down. He's like, haha, that's what you get buying things off random websites.
Oh yeah, that's right. He really insulted the shop. Only because him and Gwen don't get along, which is funny. I enjoyed that banter.
Yeah, I like that she calls him dickbag.
Yeah.
And then Another time, they're in the coffee shop and a man gets frozen.
Hardened.
After drinking got hardened, because then they find out there is a little witchy barista, a witchrista, if you will.
Love it.
Who dabbles in potions on the side, but really kind of just specializes in a Viagra-esque potion. So when she made a potion to make you hard, it really worked for his whole body. But she's also shocked to find out that Vivi is a witch, because she's like, oh, but you teach normies and you teach in the normal part of the college.
And then I think Vivienne was going to kind of go into more of an explanation as to why, but then she got cut off by Rhys, and I didn't appreciate that, because I want to know why. I think it's more we find out why. It's because she really enjoys that particular history unit for the freshmen, which is fair enough. Do what you're passionate about. It's great. But yeah, and I loved the barista's explanation. I think her name was Sam, and she's like, well, it started off as a friend, and then a friend told a friend, and then a friend told a friend, and now she suddenly has a black market potion side hustle. And we love
you're dealing potions, and she's like, no, I'm just kind of providing them, and then she explains it, and she's like, oh yeah, I guess that could be dealing.
yeah, it's kind of silly, but full circle, she realized it's great. And then they'll Rhys was subtly threatening her, what if the school board finds out, and blah blah blah. And being a Penhallow, he could pull some strings. But yeah, it was all just to get information, because they describe these little encounters with the out of whack magic as little spot fires that they're trying to put out, because it's really difficult finding any information about uplifting this curse. And then we go to the library, and they have a little encounter there.
So yes, we go to the library because they're researching how do we break a curse? There's all this information on how to set curses, but there's no information really on how to break curses. Also, while we're here, Rhys and Vivi have kind of had these little moments of kind of flirting, kind of eye contact, etc. And then they're in the library and they have a really big moment, and then they're gonna fuck in the library. They're in a study room. They're not just amongst the bookshelves, which I appreciated, because I feel like that happens a lot, and it's that's a lot happening.
Still too public for my liking.
Yeah. Anyway, and then they are interrupted by a ghost. And the ghost kind of attacks Rhys. And is it here that they say the thing, or is it... No, it's in the cabin, so I'll do that at the cabin.
Yeah, partly, because she scatters off, because her spirit was bound to a book, because her name was Piper, and she dabbled in dark magic, and if you can't handle dark magic or sustain it, you will inevitably die. And so she died.
Because your energies aren't enough, so she died.
She's a failure!
Yeah.
If she stayed in school, I mean... Stay in school, kids.
Anyway, so then Vivi and Rhys have kind of more of these moments, and I was saying yesterday, and I'll say again, that I was kind of expecting there to be kind of a soulmate, witchmate, heartmate, fate kind of situation.
Witchiation,
wow. With these two coming back together, because they both say that they've had kind of relationships in the 9 years since that they've been together. And when they were together, they were only together for 3 months. So it was very hard, fast, passionate, intense fling.
A la Grease.
Now that they're coming back together again, yes. Yeah, I kind of wish that there was that kind of mate situation, because I feel like otherwise it kind of overshadows all their other relationships. And I think that they explicitly say, well, Vivi does, she says, for example, I'm not saying that the other relationships weren't important, because they were, but it's Rhys, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, there's that vibe where I'm I just wish that there was a reason that they could eclipse everything else. But then I said as well that I feel like with everyone's kind of first love, that you will always kind of hold space in your heart or your mind for them, and it doesn't always have to be the one that got away vibes, but it's just that was a very integral moment of growing up, becoming an adult, because they were only 19. So I feel like everyone's first love, you hold space for them
for sure. Absolutely.
Stop just sneaking up on me, bitch.
I saw him. I don't know why I didn't say anything. I expected you to hear him.
I can't hear shit.
But yeah, I agree with that. The whole young love or first love situation, and obviously, and like there's little small flashbacks that Vivienne has of her time with Rhys in those like vulnerable, intimate moments as well, and like it just seems like they are meant to be as well in that sense. Like they just get each other. But here's a qualm that I remembered that I had. I was a little bit annoyed that we'd never really circled back to the betrothed situation, because that's a pretty big thing to like leave for and then have no follow up, especially with Vivienne.
I mentioned that as well, because he went back and then they didn't talk for 9 years, and it's like, why couldn't he have, because they have travelling stones so that where you can instantly travel to a location, so it's like, why couldn't he just pop back and grovel and be like, I'm so sorry, like, I've called it off, like, I'm not engaged, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, or have just reached out and been like, hey, this is what's happened. I'm sorry for, like, hurting you or making you upset, blah, 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 but, like, this is the true circumstance right now. Like, I don't even know what happened. Like, did it get called off, or was it just, like, because I forget.
I'm just assuming that, well, it didn't mention it really, but
it just didn't go through.
That he was like, no thanks.
But yeah, because I feel like that would have been, incredibly integral. But anyway, and like, Rhys could have reached out and been like, hey, this is what's happened. Like, I'm sorry that you've been hurt in the process. You know, if you want to explore something in the future or whatever, like, let me know. Or like, come back to me in a way. And then, it was just never brought up again, even in there, as their relationship developed either. Like, she didn't even make a joke of like, oh, you remember when you had a betrothed? It's like, you know. So they really glossed over it. But no, I suppose it just shows them maturity, like, you know, they're able to move on. And as we just said, like, she's had past boyfriends that, like, have been integral in, like, the growing up aspect as well. So, like, it probably just truly doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. I wish we had gotten more, a little bit, kind of a, you changed your camera angle.
I moved forward.
I wish that we'd gotten more of kind of her backstory. Because, it's just like, oh, my mum was scared of magic, and then she died, and now I live with my aunt and cousin. And then it's a very funny moment when Rhys, like, he's talking to her about her mum, and she's explaining things. And then he goes, oh, so you got the full Potter.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, what? And he's like, the Harry Potter, like, you didn't find out until later in life that you're a witch, and then blah, blah, blah. And then he does the whole, like, you're a wizard.
You're a witch, Vivienne. Yeah, I loved... Normally we hate in these types of books. It takes you out of it almost with these modern day references to modern day things like Harry Potter. But I don't know, it just felt right in this book. And I think Gwen also mentioned, maybe either in the prologue or even throughout this book, about her and Vivienne just need to, like, drink and, like, listen to Taylor Swift. And, like, I love that. Like, normally, I'd hate those references, pop culture references. But no, it just fits so well. I don't know, something about it. We were just enchanted by reading this book.
Perhaps the book is cursed.
Or
is charmed.
So yeah, they encounter this ghost that's gone wackadoodle.
Yes.
She disappears.
So then we're about 60%, I'd say about 70% through the book, and then the plot finally starts. So they've let this ghost free, and then this witch from the allegedly witch part of the college comes to Vivi's office, and she has a Eurydice candle which traps ghosts, and she says if you find her altar and light it, like, she will get trapped into the candle, and then we can untrap her and bind her correctly. And Vivi's like, why not? Let's go to the haunted house.
That seems fair enough and a valid explanation.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, they go to the haunted house, and first they're kind of interrupted by some students because it is a hookup spot.
What a gnarly place to hook up.
Yeah, they're in... Vivi and Rhys are stuck kind of in a broom closet, and they have this, like, really intense, like, their clothes, and then he's, like, kind of, like, grazing her neck with his lips, and it's
they
like...
They are pressed.
It's like the not touching touch, and it's very, very hot, and I'm very into it. Yeah, steamy. Anyway, and then, so... Vivi, like, uses her magic to knock a picture frame off the wall or slam the front door and stuff so the students get scared.
She truly enhances the haunting experience.
Yes. And then they find the altar of Piper, and then the ghost appears.
There we go, Kenzie. Kenzie's going to reenact her epic monologue.
Penhallow, you have taken what is not yours.
I love it.
Penhallow, you are cursed.
You're going to die.
Yes. So yeah, now the plot begins. They trap the ghost.
Now there's a sense of urgency because they have
yeah.
until Halloween or whatever.
Yes. They give the candle back to Amanda. And then they have sex.
Vivienne and Rhys, not Rhys and Amanda.
Not Rhys and Amanda, Rhys and Vivi. Anyway, but this book also, jumping left a little bit, gets an automatic 5 out of 5 from me because there is explicit mention of condom use.
Yes, we know how Kenzie loves it. Yeah, I read it and I was like, she's going to enjoy this.
And I was waiting and they did mention it because I was like, oh, they're witches. Like, surely there's a tonic that they can take. And she says that there's like charms and stuff they can use for protection, but Aunt Elaine always said to trust science.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah, when it comes to your body, you should trust science.
Yes. Love the, cohabitance of science and magic. Love to see it. Beautiful. And yeah, we later learn that Amanda is a con artist and not a witch from the department. Witch department.
Yeah, she is Tamsin Bly. She's not even a witch. And she procurates?
Curates.
She curates, witch objects to sell.
Or acquires.
To fund her life.
I know, yeah, she's a con artist. She's a thief in a way, perhaps, as well. She procures all these, witchy, haunted things.
And then also she was sussy-wussy, from the start, because when she comes to the office, Vivienne is like, oh, she's wearing jeans. She must be pretty cool. And, just the vibes are off. And so then it's also, when they get the candle, it's like, why wouldn't you take it back to the head of the college who supposedly asked you guys to trap the ghost in the candle to start with?
Because everyone is, on their ass in this book about, it's your fault, you fix it, which is very fair enough. If you break it, you fix it. But then...
you cursed him, you uncurse him.
Yeah, this whole interaction with Amanda and being essentially conned as well shows, I feel like, a bit of naivety towards Vivienne and her magical roots because, she is kind of... She tucks herself away from the magic life, so how is she to know if she's actually from the witch department if she doesn't necessarily interact with it too much? So, that's fair enough, and it shows a bit of naivety. But, yeah, that was funny. It should have been the jeans all along. A dead giveaway. Even Rhys made a joke about that. But then, lucky for them, their woes didn't last too long because they then hunted Amanda down, and then her real name is Tamsin. Is that right?
Yep. Tamsin Bly.
It turns out she never left. I think she was 2 towns over or something. And then that's when they realised that the actual curse of the ley lines is within the town of...
Yeah, it's in Graves Glen.
Graves Glen, that's it.
Yeah, and because the candle's acting kind of erratically, like it's making the room cold and stuff and danky. And so she's like, I don't want to take this on a plane.
Yeah, fair enough.
So they take it back and they release the ghost again.
I think that's just when the performance
they're like,
happened,
hey, what's up? Yeah. And then the ghost is all like, yo, I'm going to get there, but hang on. First of all, the ghost is like, yo, I was trying to contact Elwood Jones because Rhys Penhallow stole her power to create the ley lines or whatever, essentially killing her. And so the Piper's all like, I was trying to raise Elwood, but I didn't have enough power, so my energy was sucked, henceforth I died. And then she's like, Penhallow, you are cursed. Your power is not yours. You took what was not yours. You have until Halloween or you die.
I love this. Just keep going. I'm just enjoying the show.
Yeah, so they're like, well, fuckity frick frock, what do we do? So now we're 80% of the way through the book. I'm
like, wrap this boy up, please. Hurry the fuck up.
Rappity rap, what's going to happen? Rhys is going to die. I'm like, sick, cool.
Wrap it up like Rhys's dick. Let's go. Hurry up.
Woohoo! So we go to the cemetery on Halloween and we raise Elwood. And Allwood is like, I can...
Cemetery? What is the cemetery? I don't remember a cemetery.
Yeah, they go to the cemetery to raise Allwood. She's at the grave.
I thought this was all in the Leyline cave.
You fool. No. Because then they have to drive to the cave, remember? Because she's like, I'm going to go. And then she's like, I need you two too.
Sorry.
And I didn't like that sentence. Because she's like, you two too.
You two, duo two.
Yeah.
All right,
just like if kissing him makes you make that face.
I'm just enthralled by your descriptions and just you of this episode. So like, which I love it. It's great. Keep going.
So they go to the cemetery, and they raise Allwood, and Allwood is like, "What up, bitches? Nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you. Where you been? I could show you incredible things."
She's like, okay, I'll save Rhys and the town. And she's like,
what the fuck?
She's like, oh, run into a bit of a situation here.
A witchiation, yep.
A witchiation. I can save the town or I can save Rhys. And she's like, I can. And then Rhys is like, fucking take me, bruv. And then she's like, yeah, and then she's like, no, I can see that you love my descendant, so I don't know what to do.
And then she feels like in Vivienne how much she loves her, because at that point their relationship kind of went to a bit of a halt because I think he said he had to go back to Wales anyway, so it was pretty much a rinse and repeat of
and
when
he
they were
said
19.
That, he like went to her house to tell her that he loves her. But the aunt is like, no, she has to concentrate on like powers at the moment, and he's like, okay, well, I'll tell her after that I love her. Anyway, so then Allwood's like, soz, I can only save one thing, even though you love each other. And she's like, bye, save the town. And then Vivi is like, oh, wait, no, I realised that I have the power all along. Like, I need to go to the ley lines and uncorrupt them, and that will save Rhys. So she goes with Vivi, and her name is Vivi. She goes with Elaine and Gwyn, and they fix the town. It's very girl power, boss vibes, girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight. And they fix the town, and all is well.
When those ladies need to be drafted in the war. They'll just annihilate everything. Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, I loved that it just highlighted the like Coven-esque, because with witches it's all about the family, the trio, and it really surmises that genre as well, and having them save the town together as well.
I was going to say as well,
important.
I really liked that the overall message isn't that like romantic love is the answer, it's that familial love is the answer.
It helps when your ancient dead descendant is super powerful as well. Plays a part in it. And as I said last night, I like this sort of perhaps direction where there's like two families that are in a way connected, just like Allwood Jones, knew of who the Gridolf? I don't know, I forget his name. Griffith, that's it. And it was like an ultimate betrayal, towards the Jones family. But then generations later, like Vivienne and Rhys can come together again naturally, fall in love, and kind of overcome that sort of ancestral betrayal and stuff. And I think that's just really cool.
Yeah, I was into that.
And it's not their fault. Like, she can't resent Rhys because, to be fair, she didn't know that his descendant did it until they found out.
I feel like there's a lot of fantasy romance books where they kind of had that trope of where like, oh well, our ancestors hated each other, so now I have to hate you kind of vibe. No. Yeah. And
I like that Rhys sort of takes an accountability once he's learnt that Griffith murdered this witch for no reason other than greed and power hungry. And he's like, that's it, no more statues of Griffith. And like, he's almost like unwinding his betrayal in the witch culture and stuff as well. And he's going to strive to do better. And I like that.
Yeah, he's going to rewrite the histories.
Exactly. Make it correct and own his family's bullshit. And then grow and just love Vivienne as well. It's great.
So then Rhys doesn't tell Vivi that he loves her. And he goes back to Wales. I don't know why he had to go back.
I think it was just to tell Simon, because Simon is a very lazy witch. Like,
he's like had to go back and report what had happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So he goes back to Wales, and then it's, I don't know, a couple of weeks later or something, maybe a month later.
A little while.
And yeah, Vivi has gotten a job in the witch department teaching a couple of classes. And she's walking down the hallway, kind of reading the names on the teacher's office's doors. And she is walking down, and it's like John's, like J Smith, like, and they would have
J Doe.
A Sydney, Australia Sydney. Anyway, and then the next one is Penhallow, and she kind of does a double take, and she's like, oh, maybe it's like his cousin or whatever. But anyway, she goes in, and it's him, and he's like, surprise, shorty.
What a no greater love declaration than that. Just strictly move straight in and just take over her job or like be a part of her job.
And he's like, you know, when the college is named after you, you kind of just get a job.
Yeah, nepotism. Bullshit. But no, it's good. But then Vivienne was like, well, could have gone to Wales as well anyway. Like, we could have had a balance. Like, there didn't need to be a drastic move.
Yeah, she's like, I want to go to Wales anyway.
And yeah, so they love each other, and it's like it was never, not a true, like, epilogue, but it was a nice, fine conclusion.
Yeah. Oh, so shall we go to the stars that listened?
Sure. I also just want to say I appreciated Gwen as a character. Like, just a loving family member, you know, supporting Vivienne in everything she does, enabled the curse. It was very funny when she wanted to, like, or asked to, like, fake curse a hookup Jane as well because of the whole situation. And, like, it's like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And as I said last night, I think it was very interesting that, I know we talked about the practicality of the magic system in this book, but yeah, I was just so surprised that there was no real big spells or big overbearing magic situations that occurred or that they created. And, like, I just thought, like, for someone like Gwen, like, I'm surely she would have dabbled.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, loved him. Loved the book. Yeah, can't wait. Are we going to read about Gwen? We're going to finish the trilogy?
I think we should finish the trilogy.
Sure. All right. And with that, we'll go to the stars that listen. The stars is where we read a 1-star review and a 5-star review from Goodreads for shits and giggles.
We start with the 1-star because we don't like to end on a negative note.
Exactly, and the 5 stars are normally poppin' and...
Oh my God. I'll start with my 1-star. It is so boring. Never mix witchcraft and vodka, but mixing vodka with this book was necessary.
It's funny with the 1-stars review, because we like the book so much, we're going to get so defensive.
Yeah.
Alright, I have 2 1-star reviews just because I thought they were funny. Rhys was about as charming as a stub toe. Oh boy. And then my other one is not a good book. It was so overrated and not worth your time. It felt like reading a book written by a 13-year-old but with some spicy scenes. Overall, it was a bad book, not my speed at all, and should not have all the hype surrounding it. Definitely don't recommend. Bit harsh.
Oh,
but fair.
Harsh. I feel like though if someone's like definitely not my cup of tea or whatever, it's like, okay, well then don't read it.
Or just, you don't have to say it's not your cup of tea.
Yeah,
you can just let it go.
Just don't finish it. And move on. Alright, my 5-star is if Hollywood doesn't turn this into a spectacular movie, I will sue.
I definitely read this book and imagined like a movie. Like the structure of it is just so perfect as well.
And the pacing's really good. Like you could definitely get like the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Oh yeah. Although just really quickly, there was like a period of time where Halloween was like 2 weeks away and they really just puddled around and like not really interacting with any dodgy magic, and that annoyed me a lot because it's like, where's the sense of urgency? I suppose they didn't know it was urgent.
Yeah, not that there's any signs that they are going to turn into a movie, but I would imagine that they would make it like a week before Halloween.
Yeah, sure. They would really compress it for sure.
Yeah.
Who would you have cast as Rhys and Vivienne? Just out there.
What's her name? That we all wanted to be Lily.
Oh,
Abby
name.
Cohen.
Oh, Abby
Is
Cohen.
That her name? Yeah. And Dylan O'Brien.
Okay.
No, it would have to be like an English person because they'd have to do the accent.
Unless there's like a Welsh actor out there that we don't know of. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Paul Mescal, or is he a bit old?
He's a bit old, I reckon. I don't think he's got that like suaveness.
Posh look. Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Oh well. Yeah.
Alright, my 5-star review. It gave me everything I wanted from a Halloween romance. It's not that it was flawless, but it was magical, funny, and mysterious. And even though my 5 stars may be slightly too generous, I don't care because it truly delivered.
Nice. Are your ley lines struggling?
My ley lines are struggling. My trilogy is struggling.
Oh well. As always, thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram at letterbox_book_club. From there, our link tree is in the bio where you'll find us in all the places: TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts might be dead.
Google Podcasts is dying soon, so rip. Join us next week where we take a dive into much, much, much darker content, where we will be discussing Haunting Adeline.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
halfway through, bro, and I don't know what to say.
You're halfway through. I'm only like 9 chapters in, bruh.
Jesus Christ, I've been smashing it out all day.
No, I haven't. I've been busy all day.
It is definitely different than everything that I've been seeing online. It got so mixed.
From the warnings, I was like, what am I about to read?
You're gonna get there.
Oh god, because at the start I'm like, oh, this is just like a dark romance.
I know.
Fuck, I'm scared.
No, it's just so like I just don't know how to feel about it so far, and
Okay.
I don't know if I even should.
Because I've been hearing lots and lots of things on the line, and reading lots and lots of things, but then the stars just, like why has it got such good reviews?
I can understand why in a way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very.
Okay.
We'll talk about it next week.
Okay, I am
tomorrow,
going
but
into
next
it.
week.
Yeah, I am going into it from a more literary, analytic standpoint than
really?
just this is a book. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Oh well.
But yeah,
Anyway.
Haunting Adeline. What a fitting way for Halloween, like week,
Yes.
because we
Yes.
do post on Mondays, and I think Halloween is on the Tuesday.
Yeah. We may be having a bonus ep for
Ooh.
All
maybe.
Hallows Eve, but we will let you all know. Anyway,
And
thank you all.
Samhain. Celebrate Samhain.
Yes. When the veil is thinnest.
Of course. Get a Ouija
Anyway.
board out. No, I don't want to mess with the Ouija
Do
board.
not do that. On that note, goodbye.